Right, legends, welcome to the crypto market review. So, let's start with a clean chart. Every now and again, it's good to start with a clean chart. I'll do it at least once a week, just in case, I'm getting too married to an idea, this, that, the other. It helps you refresh, okay? And remind you if your ideas are correct or not. So, let's start with the monthly in this case. So, start with Bitcoin monthly, okay? We're still bullish, okay? Long term. Not, I say long term, but for now, we're still bullish, okay? There's nothing, and we're still reaching into resistance, okay? Now, has it topped out? Who knows? But on the monthly, I wouldn't be bearish this, at least, short term. But okay, let's go with that. Monthly, that's that. Weekly, okay, so okay, we're taking a pause. We've had bullish candles, okay, bullish up, so it's natural to expect some sort of pullback. Okay, doesn't mean this up move is over just yet. Could it be into resistance? Well, that's where we're gonna find out now. Okay, so okay, this week we're below the weekly open. We've had a pause. I'd call this a pause. Looking historically, you're gonna get those pauses. Okay, so that's that sorted. Now let's go down to the daily. So I can't see a clear view just from looking at this chart. So I'm gonna have to go to the daily, and this is where it gets interesting now. So this is without the range levels. Now the aim is start off with the naked chart, draw the key uh, levels that stand out, the immediate levels that we're reacting with. Then we bring in the ranges and etc to give us a more refined view. So whenever I mark up a chart, the first thing is it's like when you're building something from scratch, you start with the basic infrastructure, the basic model, which is the key SR that stands out. Then you start adding extras like the ranges, the Monday range, etc. Okay, so what stands out to me right now, where's market being capped? It's going to be this low here. Okay, clear SR. So let's mark that out. So this low comes in at 51.81. Let's draw that out. Hang on a minute. Yeah, 51.81. I'm gonna go through this really slowly. Okay. I'm only doing it for my own purposes, so I can do it. But this is how I do things. So 51.81. Now let's look at on the daily what's been happening. So on the daily we can see, okay, we've come to this resistance. We found resistance there. We spiked lower. We broke above it. Okay, we closed above it. We found some support, but then it made a daily close below it. That tells me that okay, if it's tried to break above it, it's failing, and most likely below this, I would say bearish. Okay, now when I say bearish, is it short term? Is it long term? Well, this is where the question comes in. So the clear-cut scenario would be okay. From what we've given so far, it's finding resistance there, which is previous week's high. Okay, it's broken above it, closed above it, it's found support there, but then it couldn't sustain that. It's broken below it, so that would automatically say to me we're coming to resistance. We've failed once, twice, and then broken down. So that would immediately put me onto some bearish alert. Okay, at least short term. And then I want to think, okay, where would be the targets? Well, the thing is, we're trapped here then. Okay, we're trapped at that SR level there. If it was going to go lower, where would be the objective? So let's mark out that, and then we're just going to mark out immediate reaction points, immediate objectives. Okay, the immediate objective that stands out to me would be this high here. So let's mark that out, and I'll explain my reasoning behind that. So that high comes in at 44.23. This is just really pure price action, what the market is telling you. Okay, interpreting the market. Now, why is that level? Why not this level or that high or that high? Yeah, it could be, but the reason why this stands out, okay, is because that high caused the low. Okay, so that is the swing. That is the swing point. Now, this price action was within this leg, so that's the one that stands out. Is everybody clear with that now? Why this is the most important one? These are the most secondary. This is the one that immediately stands out. Okay, so now we've identified where we're trapped within. We're trapped within that level and that level. Okay, so like I said, a clear-cut long scenario would be okay if it's going to go back up there again. Then most likely we've had a number of attempts to break above it and then fail. If it was going to go lower, it should go lower from here. However, If it does this, then most likely higher, okay, and probably these levels, this high then, okay. So that's the clear cut scenario. Now let's break this down. All we know from that, we're trapped within here, and what I've discussed, that is failing to break above that. So let's go down to the 4 hour now, okay, and refine this even more. So on the 4 hour, we can see the initial high that was made was this high here. Okay, so let's mark these out in different color, so we know when we go to the lower time frame, we know what stands out to us. Give that a bit of blue, okay, and we're gonna try keep it as clean as possible, as simple as possible. Okay, differentiating the two key levels, and I'm gonna have to edit this line. Okay, that's that so far. So if I'm bearish, okay, where am I wrong? Here. So I could initiate a swing position based on one we've just done so far, okay, with anywhere here. Is there a good risk reward? Well, if I, this is an example, okay, I'm not shorting this, but I'm just working out, is it a good example? So if I just short that market, from what we know so far, I don't care about entry. Do I have risk reward? That's, I know where I'm wrong on short idea there. Where am I targeting? There. Yeah, that's 1.57R, okay, not the best, but it's something. Now, what do I do from here? And that's where the lower time frame, sometimes on the higher time frame, you're not clear until it makes that higher time frame move. For example, on the daily, when I went and I said if it gets back above here, and then on the daily, that becomes clear. But right now on the daily, it's at resistance. It could fall lower, it could fall higher. I don't have the confidence to take a sizable position based on that. If I was, I'll take a punt short here, stop there. If I'm wrong, I can mitigate that by, okay, if that gets taken, most like, then I'm gonna have to switch my bias and go long. But if you want to avoid all of that, you're gonna have to go to the lower time frame then, and on the lower time frame, you're gonna have to accept the fact that unless it's a clear breakdown, it has to be short term. Okay, short term, lower time frame. So what can I work with here? Okay, so I've identified that, identified this. So let's go 4 hour. It's not really giving me too much. Okay, so let's go down lower to the H1, and that's when shit becomes clearer. Now I can see, okay, what was the consolidation that took it below this key SR level, because that's going to be a pivotal level. The selling within that is what took it lower. It's going to be this here, so I'm just going to box that out, okay, to avoid too many lines. Box that out, okay. And if you look at the other chart, that's where we'll get to this point, is this consolidation here, okay. So we've identified that. So what I would like to see is, ideally, okay, when we drop, this is the high that's caused that low. So we, no, ignore that, ignore that. So the scenario I would have liked to have seen is, and it still remains from the last one, if I'm going to get bearish this, okay, touch into there, break down, okay, and then I know what I'm targeting. Before it even hits that, do I have clear objectives? These lows here, okay, and then this low here. So let's get even more into it. Has there been a pivotal level or whatever before that? If I look here, right, no, that doesn't stand out to me. It's here. This high, okay, has caused, so short term now, so what I'm doing now is going to be the same thing that I did on the high time frame, but on the lower time frame, to gain some sort of entry. That high is significant to me short term. Why? Because that high has caused that low. What I'm going to try to identify is a breaking market structure pattern, a range that we can work within. Okay, so that high caused that low, resistance, resistance, spiked it, below it, broke above it, below it again. So right now, for me, it's not high probability, it's in the middle of nowhere. But that is going to be key going forward now though. Okay, so ideal scenario would be, the thing is, what's it doing here? It's just trailing around here. It's not giving a clear direction. So ideal scenario, scenario one, pushes into there. Then I'm going to be looking for a breakdown. Okay, we've identified this is the range high there. If, and then short term we've got this high. If this happens, okay, I could take a little punt and short it. I know where I'm wrong here. Why? Because if it gets back above that, that gets back above that daily level. Okay. However, if I want to make that confirmation, get back below there. When it does that, if it does that, then it's come off the key level, it's broken down then, and then I know I can then initiate the short with confidence. Okay, at that point, where would be my objective? Well, these lows here, and then on the daily, if it's going to gain more momentum, it's going to be this low here. Is everybody clear cut with that short scenario? So right now I've got no trade idea, okay, but if that happens, then I've got a trade idea. Is that clear for everybody? I've gone as slow as possible. Yes? No? Okay. Now, what about the long idea? Well, even when we're dealing with the lower time frame, we're still dealing with the higher time frame levels. We're pinning the lower time frame, these lower time on around the higher time frame levels. So if we do this, then the probability of a long increases because we're above that. I'll wait for that to hold. In case there's a deviation above, give me that breaking market structure pattern, bullish confirmation, okay, to prove to me they're holding that level. Then I'm gonna ride the motherfucker up. We know what's capping the market is last week's high, objective one, and then it's gonna be in higher prices. Now, if you don't want to take that, if you close bullish, then on the higher time frame you've got the confirmation because you've got that daily close back above that and above that here. Now let's do the same. Now this is where we refine shit a bit more, okay, by bringing in the Monday range, by bringing in the levels. So all this what I've done is based on pure SR. Then I refine that SR using the ranges, okay. Now we can see more precise. So for example, say that was last week's high. Now, which price level is the most effective one? Is it exactly to the pip or is it a couple of prices lower? Because if I was to draw a line like this, I could say, well, this is more effective because this level here has more touches. Example, resistance, 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 and there. Now, lo and behold, that's where the Monday's range comes in. Just so happens that the Monday's range lines up around last week's high. When we found resistance intra-week at Monday's high, okay, and a resistance there, okay, so it's trading below Monday's high, that's fine, but it's not something I have clear. So this is more refining it. So that 51.77 level, just to remind everyone, or 51.76.5 is that low there. So now we've got a new range. So old range was here, okay, so we've already gone through that. The new range we're dealing within, okay, is that high, that low there, which is the range high. The old range low, range high becomes the range low, and that's the mid range. So the mid range here lines up with this blue SR level there. Just a couple of points. I'm not gonna, cry about a couple of dollar difference, but you can see how effective it is. So you can see, okay, fast move up, fast move below it, okay, that's fine. Clear break above it, it holds it, leads to a push up. Well, below it, it's going to be bearish, so it's going to be pivot for us. Again, that just happens to lie within that blue box I drew. That's just got blue line here. That breakdown, then I step the fuck in. This level there, and then testing that. Exactly. Okay, so this is just adding more than, so you don't necessarily have to use it. So the reason why I use it, as you can see, is proven that it's more precise levels. Okay, just start off with the initial stuff and then get more precise with this. So someone asked me, can I trade without this? Yes, you can. But if you want to get more precise, it just helps me see shit clear. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Now, again, the inverse, okay? For me to get bullish this, I don't have the balls to get bullish here, but I do have the confidence to get bullish here because the probabilities increase. And then again, that would, if it does that, that takes us back below Monday's low. That then becomes a deviation. Key pivotal SR, okay? Bullish price action to confirm it. Then I'll play back towards the Monday side because that's a short-term resistance, okay? Because unless it's broken now, it's still short-term resistance. If it breaks out, then we can start saying, okay, it's going to be a swing trade. But if it's ranging, you don't know how long this consolidation is going to last. Okay, so you have to be realistic and say to yourself, okay, I have to set myself short-term targets unless proven otherwise with a daily close back above this high here. So that's Bitcoin. Okay, let's move forward now to XRP BTC. Now, originally, I wanted to do this. So what I want to go over with XRP BTC is a fractal. Okay, now I'm not saying the fractal is going to play out exactly, but I'll mark out a plan. If it follows that map or plan, then I've got my entry. Naked chart with XRP. Let's go to the monthly. What's this saying to us? So on the monthly, okay, it ain't looking too good. It's taken on the high, but it's coming to key support. This level here. Okay, does it bounce from here? Does it go on full lower? Who knows? Let's see. So that's monthly is bearish as fuck. Okay, weekly. So if I was to say to you, okay, someone say, oh, I want to get bullish this, at what point would I say confidence? Well, if it pushes back above the monthly open, then I'll get confident on the idea. Why? Because at that point it'll be a run of this key low here, and if it gets back above, then I'll have the confidence. Okay, I don't. Let me quickly check that low quickly. Yeah, that low was a spike actually. So ignore that because that didn't happen on Binance or other ones, but that's an anomaly. But okay, that's fine. Weekly, okay, it's dropping now. Is it the weekly that I want to show fractal on? Yeah. Okay, so let's see now. Compare this level I just mentioned, okay, on the daily for Bitcoin. Um, that high being significant. Why? Because that caused the low. Let's use that same idea now with XRP, and has it historically been proven? Because the reason why we are able to trade price actions is because we look at historical patterns. When we see XYZ happen, then we know if that happened before, that's usually the price behavior. So let's look at this now. What caused this low? Well, it was this high. Okay, so it's not going to be accurate drawing, but you get the idea. That there. So let's mark that out. Blue. Okay, there. Okay. What caused this low? Now we've got that level there. Okay. So let's mark that out. That high caused this low. But then you can argue where we got a little pullback. So I can also use this swing high here. Okay. I didn't exactly get there. Okay, but it's near enough. And with FX, you get more accurate. But on some exchanges, you'll find it did touch that. So others, you don't. I don't give a fuck. It's close enough for me. Okay. So looking at that again, all we're identifying, we started with the monthly. Okay, that high, ignoring this as an anomaly, took out this low. Okay, that high pushed down, took out that low, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's go down now and refine that a bit more. On the daily becomes clearer. Okay, so on the daily it becomes much more clearer. You can see on the daily that's that high, and that looks more significant now because that low is a SR level here. Okay, like this. So that was a swing high that caused a low, pushed it above it. As soon as it broke above it, it broke back below, but then it rallied. Okay, now that high, now we got another one level. That high caused the swing low before we got the rally up. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get that level. Okay, I don't need that now, and plug it there. Okay, I'm just looking at the initiation points. As you can see from that fractal, the high that causes the low, we get a retest of it, it rallies. The highs that causes the low, okay, you get the idea. So that high caused that low, rallied, retest. That high caused that low, rallied, retest. That high caused that low. Can you see what I'm getting at now? Is this making sense to everybody? Okay, so let's move forward now. So again, there's no reason to expect the same thing won't happen again. Okay, and why are we not worried about these thin moves? Is because they've been traded here. This thin move has been traded here, so we don't need to worry. It can go lower, but that would be the minimal level. Then we'll see if it breaks back below it cleanly and finds resistance. Then we say, okay, we're gonna switch biases. So let's move forward now. I'm gonna throw in a trend line. I don't trade just using trend lines. It's just to point out the fractal, the obvious. The obvious is okay. I'm gonna show it now. We're this low here, and watch how I use my trend line. I'm not drawing it like this. You can, but I'm drawing it like this. Why? To show me deviations, and then I'm going to adjust it as well. Just like I do, see when I draw my range highs horizontally, I adjust them to see which price level fits price the most, because that's what I want to see, because that's the pivotal area. Now let's look at this, and why have I drawn it the way I have right now? Okay, so the reason why is because if we look, we draw it from that line. Okay, we can see that it's just looking at touch points. Break here, retest there. Break below it, test there. The moment it gets back above it, that's like a deviation then. But with a diagonal line, the moment it gets back above it, that's it. That's your bullish bias, coupled with the key high time frame level there. Okay, there that was a deviation, so that's your long trigger up. Let's look at it again now. It finds it breaks back below it, finds resistance there. So following that same idea, if it was to do, I don't care how low it goes. If, however, it does this, that would be a deviation on that low, but that would then become a bigger deviation like this, and that would be the clear-cut long scenario. Is that clear? This is just pointing out the obvious scenarios before we go down to the more intricate stuff. Is that clear? It just so happens that if it was to touch this and do that, it would also follow the fractal we've been on about. Now, let's break this down more. Can I introduce further confluence with this? Yes, I can. If we look usually when it hits that key level, it takes out a low. So for example's sake, when it came down here, it took out this key low here. So using that and that same analogy, we could have said at the time, oh, we got a raid of this low here, deviation into key level. As soon as you got back above it, we could have entered long there. Okay, and then further resistance level that breaks, we expect that further increases the ideas. Okay, well, let's look at this now. For me to get long this, before it even breaks the trend line, here, we know there's a massive level there following the same fractal. So if it does this, okay, so most likely I'd be surprised if it doesn't take that low out. Okay, expected something like this, then we wait. When it did this, we waited, and in this case, even broke below it. But then what do you do? As soon as you get back above, the first sign was as soon as you get back above it. As soon as it gets back above it, then that puts us at this stage. Understood? That puts us at that stage. And then we can start attempting longs because we come to a key higher time frame level. We frame our ideas off of key higher time frame level. Okay? And then that would be my first long to start longing it with high confidence, because if it's already done a deviation, it should not deviate back below it. Okay? And then I can add. Okay, I can add if it does this. Just like here, when it did this, okay, here above it, but it still was resistance. So in this scenario, it just did the impulse me back right above it. I mean, you could have taken an aggressive long there, but that's the high probability play. But in this case, if it breaks back above it, I can my first position here, and then if it breaks back above that, then it's game on to higher prices. Is everybody clear with that? Or what about the short scenario? Well, let's go back right, and what would be a short scenario? Because if it's going to go lower from here, I mean, it's approaching this level. Does it do a thing? Is that does it? I'm just looking. I'm just gonna take the obvious trades. Okay, if it gets there, I'll take it. If it doesn't, let it do its thing. But if it, but so for example, say the short scenario when it broke this level here historically. Let's look at it historically. Okay, it broke this level here. Okay, it's broken a KSR level, but then that should be bearish. Okay, but with the well, if that's the case, then what we would want to see is further breakdown. So when it breaks a KSR should act as resistance. Okay, and the confirmation breakdown. In this case, we didn't get it on the daily. If we had got that, then I would have said lower. Okay, we didn't get that immediate back down and then back off. So for me to get bearish this under the KSR, then if it does something like this and then breaks down, and that's why I wait for that confirmation, then I'm happy to short it. At that point, what would be the objective? Well, we got another high there to reach for, and then that would be the objective there. Okay, and that point I'll get bearish this. Well, that's XRP BTC, and that's just based on the daily. Let's go to XRP USD now. Okay, now XRP USD, I said previously, I'm gonna start with a clean chart first. Okay, so let's just break this down now. What's the obvious case in this? Well, on the monthly, we can see we had this consolidation here. Okay, we retested that consolidation. Okay, we rallied up, drifted back lower. Now notice the bodies are kind of small body candle, small body candle, small body candle, small body candle. At one point, that was quite a large body candle. Okay, now at the same time, it's producing a higher low as well, which is good if you're bullish. But what puts me off is the rejection we've had here. Now, if this is true to go higher, this we'll know better on the lower time frame. Is this just a pullback? We can only see that pullback or more detail if we go to the lower time frame. However, we do not want to see this go below the monthly open, because if it goes below the monthly open, that could be just a big run on these highs here, and then it pushes lower. If that happens, then it's game over. Okay, well, lower prices anyway. So that's what we gain from the monthly, and it's turning. But is that enough? No. Just if I look at the monthly, I could point to say, well, long here, stop loss there. Okay, but no one's keeping that. Let's go to the weekly now. Now things gain a bit clearer now. Okay, so before I do that, on the monthly, what I can also see is, okay, what resistance was the initial resistance that was cleared? Well, we can see, okay, that it was previous month's high. Okay, so that is the range. So if we look right now, what's the range we've been in? So we got this level there, okay, and then we've got this level there. Okay, just on the monthly basis, okay, we're going to interpret that in the lower time frame now. So that high comes in at 34.52. 34. I know I can use the back now. I just purposely don't do it. It's because I'm OCD. And then this low is 28.50. Okay, 28.50. Now, Why have I chosen that? Well, it's quite obvious why I've chosen that, isn't it? That was the range. We were held within this in March. We took out range low. If it takes out range low, closes within it, would you all agree the next target is going to be short term here, but it's going to be this here? Now that is proven that this high and this low are the key important levels, okay? That the price is trapped within. Now shorter term, so let's do that in a different color. Now shorter term, we'll do that in blue. So this just to identify the what's capping the market, okay? Now we're going to do shorter term. Where are we at right now? Well, we can see that on the monthly basis, previous month's high is sort of significant, not that significant, but it's a resistance level. How can you tell it's a resistance level? Because that caused the push down. It's a wick, so you know whatever that high is, it's got some sort of significance behind it. Okay, especially on a monthly. You know, if this was 5 minute, not so much, but on a monthly, you know, you can get some moves. So let's mark out last month's high. Okay, so that high comes in at 32.392. 32.392. Okay. So now that I'm all I'm marking out, this is just the monthly levels, okay? I haven't even gone to the weekly, daily, whatever. Okay? You just like the sound of my voice, John. You don't even give a fuck what I chat. Okay, so we're right there right now, so we can see we're there. Now let's go down to the weekly. Now we can see what's happening, okay? So on the weekly, we can see this is interesting now. Now on the weekly, if I was to take a trade idea, I could go and after what I've just mentioned to you, I'm wouldn't this if this were 5 minute, wouldn't this be a long retest, clean breakout of so you can see big consolidation here, small bodies, small bodies, small bodies, okay, tells you the volume in the market, okay, but just by looking at the bodies, big expansion candle. This for now is just a retest, understood? If I was to go long, I know where am I wrong? I'm wrong here, aren't I? Because if the low stops have already been taken, okay, this is previous month's low, but I mean the monthly low that we marked out, but we can refine that to that more, and it pushes out and breaks out of this sort of consolidation, okay, then that retest, would you all agree as a buy? Imagine it's a 5 minute chart. Where's the invalidation level? This level here now. So although this looks bearish, after what we've just discussed so far, would you all agree that's technically a buy now? It's a retest of previous month's high. It's a retest of this down move, okay, that pushed the market up, okay? So that's actually a buy. Unless you want to wait for obvious, like, you know, push back above this monthly high, because if it goes back above that, then that would be the more conservative, but that for me would be a buy. Okay, now let's break it down further. Can we get more confidence behind it, and why, and what can we do to say, okay, just off the weekly, do I just want to buy off the weekly chart? No. If I want a bit more confirmation, this is where the lower time frame comes in. Okay, we zoom in more, zoom in more, zoom in more, and the more you zoom in, based on the higher time frame ideas. Remember this: I'm not basing a buy off a 5 minute chart. I'm basing it from the monthly, weekly, daily. The lower time frame is just to zoom in and get a more refined entry. Okay, now let's go to the daily. What does that show us? So the daily shows us, okay, it's just a retest now. So if we look right now, just off this daily, remember what I just said? Remember this. That high led to the low that took out these lows. Let's go to the XRP now. Oh, your mom's tits. What the fuck? There we are. Okay. That high led to that low. So what's the significant high that stands out to us? Lo and behold, look where we got the retest. And lo and behold, we got some reaction. Can everybody see that? So go back at your charts. The SR level that stands out, mark that out. Okay. So let's mark that in a different color. Let's do that in a bit of green. Okay. It's retested that now. Not only is it a retest, it's like a swing failure of this. Okay. Now, having said that, let's refine this even more now. Okay. So that's the daily. Let's go to the 4 hour now. So what we've done is, so that was the high there we came into, and then shorter time frame we got more SR. Okay. So let's just mark that out as well. We can just if you want to. Okay. But the minimum would be that high there. So when you rallied up, often you find, even in FX, you find that so much, where if this happens, where that's the initial high that led to the drop, the key leg. Okay, this price action is just within that leg. Okay, rally, if it doesn't retest it, often you'll find, I see this a lot in FX, this will often get taken, and then a bullish price action off of that, we get long. Okay, so now that after all of that, we're just refining it. What do you want to see now? So that's that done. Now let's mark out a range for us. Okay, breaking market structure pattern. Okay, so we've got this low here. Ideally, we want to stay above that low. Okay, if it's done the deviation, it shouldn't really come back below. Well, okay, let's wait for confirmation now. Let's go down now. Let's get some. Let's get this level up. Okay, there. Can you see? That's the low. Breakdown resistance, resistance. So, would you all agree that if after what we've discussed at the higher time level, if it does something like this, clean break, not a wick, clean break and holds, that would then be a more refined buy. Is everybody in agreement with that? Now let's go forward now. Okay, that's based purely on the naked charts. Okay, that will then be my long. Where's the objective? Well, that's that monthly level. Okay, you won't be able to see this unless you were on there. But let's look at the significance of that monthly level. Okay, even on the lower, even on for a 4 hour, natural SR on the 4 hour, isn't it? Support, clean break below it, retest, lower, clean break above it, it holds it, clean break below it, it pushes lower. So that is the pivotal level. Now that we've discussed that, okay, it's running the retest after the big expansion here, that's that retest now. If it's gonna go up, if this time it clears it, based on the higher time frame, we should go up. Now we can even do the same fractal or the same break mark structure pattern on the 4 hour. Well, a bigger fractal, a bigger make a break mark structure pattern, which would look like something like this. Okay, so if it did this, that would be my initial long. Okay, then if I want to add but with more confidence, I'll say for those that are conservative, well, I want to see go back above the monthly level. Well, that's fine as well. We've got a pattern there, so if it does that, then would you not agree that that's a bigger pattern of this? And then we should start expanding to the upside, especially with the fact that we're above that monthly level. See how we're hinging it all off that monthly level. The 4 hour alone means fuck all. It's that monthly and the weekly. Okay, there. Now let's bring in the range levels. Okay, and the yearly open and etc etc. So the daily we can identify what's our range levels, which is that's the high, that's the low, the grey line in the mid range. Now let's look at this. Just so happens that it finds support right at the mid range, it rallies, it comes there, so it's holding that mid range. So on the higher time frame basis, as long as we can hold above the mid range, any movement, this is just accumulation really. Okay, now with crypto, as you know, you don't know when it's gonna move. You're gonna have to wait weeks, year, months, whatever, but you gotta be patient. Now, nobody in the right mind should be. I don't get it why when you can trade FX so beautifully, why would you want to margin trade this? But okay, so that level there, the yearly open is around the 3480s. Let's go back to this. No, wrong chart. This level here comes in 34. So the yearly opens around about here. So it just so happens that the yearly open is here, lines up with that. So if you want to be conservative, you get back above the yearly open, and that would be more confidence in the idea. So let's go back to this chart. Now historically, I went over the fact that this the range level, that's the mid high, range high, range low, and that's the midpoint of that. Now historically, support, clean break lower, clean break above, and close above higher, hits it, doesn't make a clean close below it, lower, close above it, it pushes a bit higher. So if this is to be just a stop run, okay, then we should not waste time closing above it. So to gain further confidence, if it makes a close above it on the daily, then you can wait for that, because historically it's proven every time it makes a close above it, it pushes towards that side of the range. Okay, in this case it pushed towards it but didn't quite get there. Okay, so after everything we've just discussed based on the higher time frame, if it does it this time, then most likely we should push higher based on the higher time frame level movement. Is that clear? So that's for my XRP USD. Okay, Ethereum BTC now, the last pair. So let's go to the monthly. Okay, okay, we can go to a naked chart with this, but not really gaining much other than the fact that it's ranging. Okay, all it's doing is really up down up down up down. It's not saying much to me other than, so if I look at Ethereum BTC, what caused that low there to take out these lows here? It's that high there. So we're still holding above that. So if this was a 5 minute chart, forget that it's a monthly, as long as it's above here, okay, it's bullish really. It's on the bullish side of things. Okay, yes, we're getting a little pullback, but it doesn't mean too much just yet. Okay, that's that. Now let's bring back the levels. Okay, Ethereum BTC, we can see what's it done. It's holding the mid range nicely. You can see it clearer on the weekly. So um, range high, range low, mid range, perfect. It's proven that this is the range by holding the mid range precisely, mid range precisely. Okay, now this could pull back. Okay, take out this low all the way here, but what we want to see is this low hold. Why? That low here took out, rallied. Okay, rallied the market after taking out the stops, hitting the mid range, made a higher high. So this doesn't matter. It does matter, but this swing here is within the major leg. This is the major leg, so you can easily swing fail this leg. And as long as this low holds, okay. So this was a 5 minute chart. I want to see this. I could go long anywhere within here, as long as that low holds. And ideally, what you don't want to see is just as long as it doesn't make a weekly close below here. Okay, it should be good. Okay, so what do I do with this? Okay, it's coming down. That's fine. It's gonna get pullbacks. It's not the only time you get confident on this with a clean breakout is this. See what happened historically? Clean, massive breakout, retest, rally. If it is a clean breakout, then we get excited for bull run. Till then, there's no bull run. Till then, it's just range bound. Okay, it's just range bound. Yes, we may get a little. It may look like a bull run because it's done a bounce, but it's not that bull run, is it? Why did that bull run happen? Because it broke out. Here, it deviated below it, but the moment it got back above it, boom, rocket. So if it gets back above it cleanly, so here it failed, okay? It closed above it, and then as soon as it immediately back below it. This weekly candle, that's when I got worried about that. It closed back below it, and that's game over. So on a weekly basis, if you're a long-term trader and you want to be confident, okay, or you want to time the bull run, it'll have to be a weekly close above this. And this time, if he does it, how many times is he going to keep breaking above it before he says, fuck you, I'm going to give up? Okay? Just like, remind you, what does that look like? Okay? It looks like this. So we had this level here. Okay? Around here. How many times are you going to keep tapping that and then finally big bust out? Okay? And we were able to anticipate this. Why? Even before, by the weekly candle closes, it kept closing bullish. Okay? But that's that. So, that's the weekly. Daily. What's the daily telling us? Well, the daily is not looking too good, but okay, where are we approaching now? So let's look at this night now. So what high caused this move lower? Okay, it was this high. No, it wasn't that high there. Let me go to the lower top 4 hour to see this. Okay, yeah, that's clearer. Okay, it was this high here. Okay, that high there. Blue. That high there. Oh yeah, what the fuck did I do? Oh fuck. What did I do? Okay, 1 second. Let's resume. So what we got here is just like the pattern. That high there caused that low bull run. So we did a retest it there. Remember when I told you about XRP USD? Later on, retested it. Remember our expectation for XRP BTC to go lower. So then what we do is, if XRP BTC comes to that level, at the same time ETH BTC comes to that level, would you all agree that's confluence then, isn't it? Again, the same fractal. Okay, maybe get the 8 hour up. Okay, it's gonna be the same thing, isn't it? So based on that and based on the weekly, I'm expecting a move into here. Okay, so see it's attempted to go above higher, low, came to this consolidation, pushed up, lower, made a higher low, pushed up. If it was gonna go, why is it coming back down here again? Why is it not moving momentum? The more times it comes back down, that means the market's selling it off. It wants to seek liquidity lower or go lower. So I'm expecting a move down to here now. And what I'll be watching is XRP BTC at the same time, because often you can time it together, can't you? You get a couple of the majors, if they're all into support at the same time and there's one bullish price action, there you go. So if this comes into the same time, again, gets back above it, we know that's a KSR level, the risk is that low, then a bit of confirmation will be get back above that level, and then we should be playing towards that high there. Only if it breaks that, then that. Okay? If it breaks back below this, okay, most likely it's going to here, and doesn't come back that low, probably all the way lower. Okay? Is everybody clear with ETH BTC? Yep. Okay, now let's go to Ethereum USD now. So let's start with a naked chart for this monthly. Okay, so what's capping the market here? Well, it's this high here. Okay, these highs here. Okay, and they're back below it. Okay, we don't really want to see that, but okay, that's fine. And the thing is, right, the sometimes the USD pairs can still rally, and then the BTC crosses may fall. Okay, so this is where that does my head in, but it doesn't matter. I treat them individually, to be honest with you. That's how I trade it, and I've found success in that. But regardless, okay, we can see. Okay, let's mark this out. What I think, what I like about this is let's look at the bodies of the candles. More or less the same area. Last month was the first time it closed above, and right now, even though we're having a pullback, it's still above that. Unless it gets back below this black line, okay, this is still bullish. What is this reminding me of? This is reminding me of Bitcoin on the weekly. See the body closes higher and higher and higher. We're sort of getting the same thing now on the monthly, aren't we? The fact that a monthly closes above a significant level that they wanted to close it below previously, it's a SR flip, it's a close flip, whatever you want to call it. Can you see that? And that's where that tells me so much compared to just looking at just a normal chart. But yeah, and as long as we stay above that, it's all good. So let's go down to the weekly now, and we can see obviously the obvious level that we've taken out is this. Okay, upside daisy. We will find this in more anyway, but it just so happens to line up around about there as well. Okay, so what does this look like to you on a monthly? Would you all agree that's a deviation? Yep. So as long as it stays above that, that's bullish on a monthly basis. Okay, or it looks like it's turning. Now let's refine it a bit more down weekly. Okay. Fuck me. So what stands out here is this low here. Let's mark that across. Okay, there. Have I done it correctly? Let me draw it correctly. This low comes in at 167.32. 167 point. Probably one of the most detailed crypto reviews I've done in a long time. Okay, there. So let me just get rid of that level there. Okay, because we already know that's there. So and I can get rid of that. Yeah, I'll get rid of that for now. Okay. Resistance, resistance. Oh, break and close above. Now the weekly candle hasn't closed yet. Okay, but it doesn't necessarily have to. Oh, if it closes immediately back below. So what we'll do is, okay, say if it closes below here. Okay, what we'll then do is wait for it to get back above. If you're still bullish, well, let the market tell you. If the market closes below this, everybody's gonna get bullish. This, for example's sake, right? Now, if you close below it, you say, "Hang on a minute. Oh, hold your horses. Market's not telling me it's long just yet. It's done all of this. I want to see this, but I need to see it to stay above it. If it closes back above it, then you know that this was just manipulation to go lower, and then we go high after that. Okay, and that then becomes a bigger deviation. Now let's refine this a bit more to the daily now. Okay, could this just be a retest? Could be daily. Now, just so happens that this. So here is a resistance, resistance, and then resistance, and then this down move consolidation pushes it back above it. So short term, as long as this holds, okay, it should be good. Then what we wait for is a close back above it. Now what you can do, look what's happening. This is at this support level at the same time as XRP USD. Okay, so you can time them together then, can't you? And maybe throw in a few other majors because they usually go together if they're gonna go. So if that closes back above it, then it's game. Now let's break it down further to the 4 hour now. Okay, let's see if we can gain any more information. So the settings, get rid of this. Okay, right. So again, what's happening so far? Well, we got a run of this low. Okay, is it the exact same pattern happening on XRP USD into this support? Okay, this was the down move, pushed the market up, buying here, and we went over this last week. I mentioned the buy here. Okay, it's another video. We did that, and that was a buy. Okay, it's come back down here again. If it does this at the same time XRP is doing that, then based on that key level there, high time level, then that's the confirmation. We gotta run. We shouldn't run these lows again. Then I step the fuck in, and then I go higher. Now we can go to lower time frame and just see if we can refine it even more. Okay, the exact same thing pattern is always happening here. So let's look at this right now. At the time previously, I remember mentioning this was the up move that led to move down. Okay, that's fine. And I said if we're at key support, whatever the level was, but if she does that, that is confirmation the low is in. You can enter anywhere here now, okay? As long as this low holds now, okay? Exactly the same pattern here. If this happens, the low is in. It should be in. I've got you got an invalidation level then. Run of these lows. Then my risk becomes this low here. Long the motherfucker. Back above that key higher time frame daily or weekly level. Let's go. And then obvious targets are here. Is that clear? Now let's bring in the range levels. So I'm not just using the range levels on its own. It's got to have confluence. Range high, mid range, range low. I haven't quite marked out every single level on here. But okay. Let's go to the daily. Is it going to help us? It's not the be all and end all. But is it going to help us? So right now, no, I wouldn't say it's helping us just too much. But we can see previously that we had this consolidation here. So if we look at this, okay, it's like a dealing range here now, okay, and this is the inverse is happening exactly on dollar CAD right now, but we'll go over that in the weekend outlook. Consolidation, break above it, it should all support, fails, breaks below it, resistance, so on and so forth. Break above it, it held it, it rallied. So any dip back down to the consolidate, the down move that caused this, that's a buying opportunity now, isn't it? Now, if you're not if you want a bit more confirmation, well, what's that confirmation going to come in the form of? A breaking market structure pattern. Oh, what the fuck's going on here, man? There we go. Does that? There, the low is in. It should be in anyway, and then we work higher. Is that crystal clear for everybody?